Good afternoon, folks. Sorry about the graphic. Got too much going on. Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for Monday, April 4th. It is Monday. That means it is Metcalf's Monday. Metcalf's is a fourth-generation family-owned and operated market with stores in Madison, at Hilldale, and behind the Westtown Mall, and in Wauwatosa at 68th and State. Right now, they are stocked with everything you'll need for an amazing Easter meal, including hams and produce from local farms. You can order for pickup or delivery anytime at shopmetcalfs.com, which you might want to do because it's just easier and it's just convenient, and Metcalfs will take really good care of you. But also because there's still a pandemic on, you guys. And we're going to talk a little bit about some case numbers. I don't want to scare anybody. Okay. But so I'll give you a big grain of salt here. First of all, there's two things we keep track of when we talk about COVID, right? There's the number of cases and some statistics around the cases, around the spread of the virus and people testing positive. That's one thing. The other thing is the consequences of those cases. Are those cases sending people to hospital? Are those cases disrupting their lives? Are those cases causing fatalities? Right now, the spread numbers, the cases, the new cases, the people testing positive is going up slightly, slowly. Okay, we're not seeing anything like we saw during December and January in the Omicron spike. The deaths and hospitalizations are going down. Okay, so what does that mean? Doesn't mean a lot yet, because an increase in cases won't produce an increase in deaths and hospitalizations for at least a week or two or three. Okay, so we can't read too much of that yet, except to say we can hold our breath and cross our fingers and hope it doesn't get worse, while also taking precautions and keeping ourselves and our neighbors safe and healthy. So here are the numbers. As of Friday, we were at 372 new cases per day in the state of Wisconsin, which is a relatively low number considering where we've been. Just to give you a sense of that, that's where we were in July of last year. Okay, when things were pretty reasonably good. Today we're at 396. Okay, so since from Friday to today, it's gone up by about 24. It was 314 a week ago. So it's gone from 314 to 396 in the past week. That includes 208 new cases just confirmed today. Mondays are always low. Positive test rate. Remember that 3.0 is that magic number that we want to see. Today we're at 3.4. On Friday it was 3.3. So again, not a big jump, but an increase nonetheless. Okay, so those are the two big numbers in terms of cases and people testing positive. Now, are they severe? Are they causing people to be hospitalized and die? We don't know yet because it takes a week or two for that to happen, right? But what we do know is the daily average of deaths confirmed is at the lowest we've seen it since like the beginning of the pandemic. It's at 3. Again, that's a reporting thing. Those are the deaths that have been confirmed each day in the past 7 days. So it's entirely possible that we're just missing some that haven't been confirmed, or that somebody's getting behind on the paperwork. Okay, so don't put a lot of stock in that, because that's a big drop. It was 8 on Friday, and it's 3 today. And in fact, our total confirmed deaths are lower today than they were Friday. Friday was 12,800. Today it's 12,799, which means there were some added and some subtracted. That it's this routine sort of corrections of data. Sometimes things get double counted, or there's just an error on a spreadsheet or something. Don't read too much. It's not nefarious, right? That there were extra deaths reported and taken out, and that happened all the time. So I think that 3 is a little bit artificially low in that there was some data correction happening, and that resulted in that average. And I would expect that to drift back up a little bit this week, even if there aren't a lot more deaths. It's just more deaths will be confirmed. Hospitalizations But there's not a lot of interpretation here. This is just the number of people who are currently in the hospital is also the lowest we've seen since last summer. It's 147. That's down by over 20 since Friday. It was 160 something on Friday. Today it's down 10 just since yesterday, and it's down by 41 in the last 7 days. The population of folks in the ICU is now 27. Again, that's one of the lowest we've seen at least a year. So the mini surge, if there is a mini surge happening that started a week ago, are so far not causing an increase in hospitalizations or deaths. It takes more than a week for that to happen. Okay, so don't be like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine. On the other hand, we do know that Omicron, and this is Omicron, this is the state hygiene lab, which reports the variant data, doesn't break out the subvariants. Okay, so this has just been Omicron since Christmas. But this is very likely the BA2 variant of Omicron. But the original Omicron, the fatality rate in Wisconsin was far lower than Delta, than 1%. Keep in mind, 1% case fatality rate is very high. Sounds low. People, COVID deniers, spent the whole last 2 years saying, oh, it's 99% survive. Yeah. But 1% die. Up until Omicron, 1% people who got infected died, which is about 10 times higher than flu. Okay. Now, Omicron is much closer to flu in Wisconsin partially because Omicron is just less severe, but partially because a lot of us are vaccinated. And it was actually spreading among a lot of vaccinated people. So you got a lot of positive cases that ended up being really mild and not hospitalizing people because they were vaccinated. And as Laura points out, there's a lot of flu out there also this year. Last year, there was no flu season, right? Because we were all home and we were all masked. And flu spreads among children much more than COVID does. So having kids back in school causes flu season to go, not to go crazy, but to go normal. Right? Like I said, 2020 and the 21, there was no flu season to speak of. This year, flu season's back like normal, alongside COVID. Not great. So, putting your mask on is just not a bad idea, generally speaking. Getting vaccinated, also not a bad idea. That fourth booster, or the fourth shot, is approved for people over 50, and they're starting to be deployed in Wisconsin. Talk to your doctor. Don't take my advice on whether they get that or not. So that's where we are. Like I said, it's concerning. It's not anything to panic about right now, I don't think. It is, like I said, the BA2 is still relatively more contagious than the original Omicron, which is far more contagious than Delta. So we will probably see a continued increase until we can get to 75% vaccinated, which won't happen until we get children under 5 vaccinated, which won't happen for at least a couple more months. But again, our numbers are, even though the case numbers are slightly rising, we're still, basically where we were in July of last year. So okay. And we aren't sure yet that this is going to cause the dire consequences that Delta and that Omicron caused. So Omicron didn't cause a lot of death, but it did cause a lot of hospitalization. And so being hospitalized, I would count as a dire consequence because of the hardship that causes a person's life, right? And there's the whole long COVID thing, which is still happening also. So none of this is great news, but none of it is terribly frightening either. I want to be just realistic about it. Okay, I'm not trying to hype it up. I'm not trying to overstate it, but I'm also not trying to downplay it either. I'm just trying to give you the straight facts. So that's what we know right now. We're going to take a short pause, and we'll come back with some more news, including we're going to talk a little bit about elections, a little bit of sports, a little bit of other stuff, a little bit of national news. And we'll do that right after. Where's my thing? Right after this. All right, on Friday of this week, the Urban League will host a groundbreaking ceremony for its Black Business Hub, which if you've been on South Park, I was just there today. In fact, on South Park Street, just across the parking lot from the Goodman Library, from the Urban League office, right along the Villager Mall there, if you know where I'm talking about, you will have noticed the construction site is being prepared. They're there. They're about ready to start building this Black Business Hub, which is going to be a massive investment in the downtown. We know it's got a lot of state money. We know a few of the agencies that will be housed there. WEDC is going to have an office there. And that is going to, ideally, the idea is that it will revitalize that downtown or that South Side economy alongside the Center for Black Excellence and Culture and the new Central Responder building and all sorts of stuff happening on the South Side. And ground will break at 1:30 p.m. on Friday, and we will be there. We'll have photos and stuff for you as well coming from that. Maybe even we might even live stream some video from there. We'll see how the connection was. And also today, we've got a story from ProPublica, which is a national nonprofit news producer. And they did an investigative report of sorts on Wisconsin school boards. Because the elections here have, over the past 10 years, really have gotten increasingly contentious and partisan. Most school board elections are ostensibly nonpartisan, but conservatives have figured out that place to really fight the frontline battles of the culture war is in school boards. And they've, over the past 10 years, going back to Act 10, when Governor Walker outlawed collective bargaining for teachers, that became like a wedge issue, and people started writing four school boards based on that issue. And it's gotten more and more contentious, more and more partisan over the years. So now we're talking about critical race theory, we're talking about masking, we're talking about gender, we're banning books, that kind of stuff. And conservatives have figured out how to run in groups, first of all. So you got three candidates, all the same mindset that you can vote for together. But also, you have people like Rebecca Clayfish, who's running for governor, endorsing local school board candidates. Meanwhile, the Governor Tony Evers on the Democratic side declining to do so. So it's just sort of a uneven fight. So anyway, the local elections are tomorrow. They're very important. Go vote. Go to myvote.wi.gov to find out your polling place and what's on your ballot and more than that stuff. County board elections, the Milwaukee mayor election is up tomorrow. So a lot of stuff happening. So definitely go vote if you can. Make a plan and go vote. In national news, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the vote was this afternoon in the Senate Judiciary Committee. It was 11-11, as expected, which means she does not pass out of the committee automatically. There's a couple of procedural things that will happen. This is not unexpected, right? There's a couple of procedural things that will happen tonight and tomorrow and Wednesday. Some procedural votes to discharge the nomination from the committee, even without the committee majority. And that'll start happening tonight. And by the end of the week, she will likely be confirmed. There's already one. Susan Collins, the Republican side, has already said she'll vote in favor. So it doesn't sound like Vice President Harris will have to come in and make a tiebreaker, but you never know. But anyway, that nomination is on track to be approved by the end of the week. And finally, in sports, South African Nazim Bartman scored in the 95th minute at Chattanooga to give Forward Madison a draw. You know, it's soccer when it's an exciting, thrilling, dramatic tie. Madison gave up a goal in the 40th minute in the first half and looked like they were going to lose. And they came back and scored in the 95th minute, 5 minutes into stoppage time, to get that draw. And I got the recap and the highlight video, which I've only watched about 687 times, up at Madison365.org right now. That's the news for today. Hope you have a wonderful evening. We'll be back tomorrow with more news for you, and we'll keep a track of those COVID numbers as they, and we'll, just keep you informed. That's the best we can do. That's our role in all this, is to keep you informed. So stay with us and keep up to date. Follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Madison365.org all day, every day. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.